It is a thrill and a humbling privilege to be able to participate in the honoring of one of my heroes, Carrie Mae Weems. We live in a world awash in photographs, but very few people make great works of photography. To do so requires a profound understanding of history and what, in a given moment, history requires, what we need from it, and for whom. And making photography requires that rare capacity to communicate this understanding through something merely visible. Carrie Mae Weems has time and again shown such an understanding and such a capacity. Over time, her work has distinguished itself by exquisitely balancing critique and celebration, clarity and ambiguity, performance and revelation, word and image, historical record, and everyday experience. And if any of my students from my undergraduate course have taken that down, you can use those notes later on. The upper reaches of the art world remain very male and very pale. And against long odds, Ms. Weems has won great distinction. She has had nearly 50 solo exhibitions at museums and galleries, including the Whitney Museum of Art, the Walker Art Center in Minneapolis, the International Center for Photography, the National Museum of Women in the Arts, and at the Hutchins Center's Rudenstein Gallery, as well as venues in London, Berlin, and Dakar. Her work has also been featured in numerous important group exhibitions, including Afro-Modern, Journeys Through the Black Atlantic, which was at Tate, Liverpool in 2010, and Posing Beauty, African-American Images from the 1980s to the present, curated by the inimitable Deborah Willis. So great have been Ms. Weems' achievements that in 2008, New York Times art critic Helen Cotter complained, "I don't know why Carrie Mae Weems hasn't had a mid-career museum retrospective. No American photographer of the last quarter century has turned out a more probing, varied, and moving body of work." In 2012, the Frist Center for the Visual Arts in Nashville responded to Cotter's challenge with the retrospective Carrie Mae Weems, 3 Decades of Photography and Video. And as an aficionado of the still image, I emphasize the still photographs, but the current work, I know, is doing fabulous things in video. A year after the retrospective, Ms. Weems received a phone call from the MacArthur Foundation confirming what we already knew, namely that she's a genius. As perhaps no other artist of her generation, Ms. Weems has understood the weight of history. Hers is a brilliance that opens out onto the world, that inspires it, that enlarges the scope of our understanding and our commitment, that gives us a way to appreciate and approach the brilliance and beauty of others. And how appropriate that she recently designed with a landscape architect the Du Bois Peony to anchor the Du Bois Memorial Garden at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst. In one of my favorite of her series, Museums, Ms. Weems stands back to the viewer before the facades of major cultural institutions, from the Pergamon Museum in Berlin to the Philadelphia Museum of Art. Her body, clothed in a dark dress, stands out against the white neoclassical pillars before it, setting the courageous dignity of her presence against the monumental exclusions of the past and their ongoing legacy. Today, in this neo-Gothic edifice, we welcome Ms. Weems into the interior of Harvard, as we have welcomed her work into the interior of our hearts and minds, to award her the W.E.B. Du Bois Medal in recognition of her extraordinary achievements.
Congratulations. Thank you so much. I'm very proud of you.
What an honor.
What an honor. I am just
I didn't know that by naming a peony for my great Du Bois, so that one could have hope growing in their garden every day, would lead to this. I'll just say just one thing. I was so excited when I learned that I would be given this award with my esteemed colleagues and along with our great Muhammad Ali. And it reminded me recently of something that I read a few years ago. I was reading Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray was talking about Muhammad Ali, that great sort of contest between these two extraordinary boxers, fighters, men of the ring. And Sugar Ray said of Muhammad Ali, as he stood back in his life and reflected on his life and what it meant, he said, I came to realize that I was a boxer and Muhammad Ali was history. Skip Gates, the Hutchins Center, is history. Thank you.